Hello, I'm Jo Lloyd and welcome to Petplace, the podcast series from Petplace, which helps us all be better pet parents as we talk to the experts and get to discover how to get the best out of holidays with our dogs. Petplace. I'm delighted to be joined today by a great team. Once again, we have our resident vet, Sarah Holmes, Laura Jones from Petplace in Abergele, and our special guest, Jim Jones, who's Chief Executive Officer of North Wales Tourism. Now, I've just been reading here, Jim, that your organisation has been promoting North Wales as a dynamic and pet-friendly tourist destination for over 30 years. Welcome to the Petplace podcast, Jim. Whereabouts are you from in North Wales?
Originally, I'm from Llandudno, but at the moment, I'm speaking to you from our headquarters, which is in Colwyn Bay.
Oh, I love Colwyn Bay, especially in the summer. So, Jim, now you're a dog owner. What top tips do you have for dog owners enjoying holidays in North Wales?
Well, I do have two pets. I have two King Charles Cavaliers. Bless them. They're 12 years old now, so they're quite old in terms of years for dogs, and starting to get a little bit of medication as well. But we do absolutely adore them, and we make the most of the area to ensure that they enjoy the area of North Wales also. There's ample of space in order for you to exercise your pets, and especially the dogs. And, you know, we're surrounded by a coastline with beaches and countryside and mountains as well. So I think the key thing is just like anything is to be a responsible dog walker and follow the countryside code, because one of the issues obviously we have, because we have got so much countryside, many parts of the countryside is farmland. So, you know, we do get obviously the farmers not being happy when they see dogs off a lead. But I think for me, you know, you look at, and I love going to places like Llandudno on a Great Orme. And obviously, when there's no sheep about, there's nothing better for your dogs, you know, as long as they're in control, you know, to just have a run. And, you know, that's probably the best feeling for us and also the best feeling for them as well. You know, getting around North Wales is quite easy. And again, there's plenty of places. But one piece of advice I will say is just double check before you decide to pop onto a beach, in a sandy beach, because there may be some restrictions on there and would hate for you to get in any form of trouble.
Yes, that's a good point. And Sarah, let's start at the beginning. We're all packed up. We're ready to drive to wherever it is we're going to stay. What safety points do we need to be thinking about?
Yeah, so to start with, I think it's irresponsible of people to not have their animals securely in a car. Our dogs travel in a harness that is seatbelt safe. It's very dangerous for your pet and yourself to be free roaming. If you were in an accident, your dog could become like a propellant missile and do damage to themselves and you. So there are lots of things available that can ensure their safety and make sure that, you know, they are restrained and in a safe place. Equally, you know, we do see travel sickness in dogs, but it isn't actually something they have to live with forever. There is medication that can help them, and it is something they can grow out of. There isn't a hard and fast rule. Some dogs do better if they can look out the window. Some dogs do better if they're low down. If it's dark, they do better. So it's a case of sort of starting with baby steps, seeing what your dog's like in the car, getting them used to it, doing treats, rewarding it, and, you know, eventually when they realise they're going somewhere amazing like the beach, they just, you know, end up enjoying it and stuff. So it is about just being prepared and taking the precautions to ensure they enjoy the journey.
Yeah, they're all good points. And Laura, what products can help with this?
We've got multitudes of different products available at Petplace. We've got the crate. So obviously, if your dog is comfortable, happy in a crate, it's a safe way of travelling, either in the boot or in a secure place on the back seat. The seatbelt harnesses as well, like Sarah said she uses. We've also got an adapter. So if you've already got a safe, well-padded harness, rather than buying the whole new harness system, you could just buy the adapter, which will quite happily adapt any safe harness into the car. We also sell booster seats. So for your smaller dogs that like to be sat up higher, looking out the window where they're more comfortable, they can sit in a little secure booster seat as well. Or for your larger dogs, especially for your muddy dogs that you don't want rolling around in the back of the car. You could get a dog guard to separate them from the boot to the main of the car, just to make it safe so they can't be hopping around. And again, in the case of an accident, if you were to brake quickly, they're not going to be like a missile, like Sarah said, where it's going to harm other passengers as well. With travelling, it's not only for your dog and for your safety, but you've got to be more mindful of other people travelling around you. So if you've got a dog driving along with its head hanging out the window, think of the implications that that dog could have if there was an accident, or the distractions that they could cause. So just by having them secure in the car at all times is just respectful to other road users as well as yourselves.
That's a really good point, because we all drive along and you see a dog with his head hanging out the window. You're like, oh, isn't that funny? But it is a distraction, you're right. And it is about respecting the environment that you're in, isn't it? Completely.
Most definitely, yeah. I think the other point is when you see little dogs sat on your knee when you're driving, or sat on the parcel shelf. I mean, you think of what could happen if you had an accident and the dog sat on the parcel shelf, or if the dog fell off your knee and it got stuck near your foot pedals to put your foot on the brake. There's so many issues with allowing your dog to travel that way. It is just trial and error, really, by making them as safe as possible and as comfortable as possible while you're travelling.
I think it's irresponsible not to. It's law now that children, under 12 have to be in booster seats and stuff. And I think, like Laura said, if a dog's bouncing around on the parcel shelf, hanging out the window, it's not only a distraction, it's dangerous. It's health-wise not good for them. And if, they went out the window, who knows what would happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the idea of a booster seat. Hadn't thought of that one. I think I might have to purchase. Especially my dog's a small dog. He has his secure extender seatbelt and his harness. And I also use his dog bed that he likes, because I just think it gives him a little bit more calming influence in the car, because I don't think he travels as well. Sometimes he will just sleep. But a booster seat's a great one.
Most definitely. I think some dogs do like to be able to see where they're going, to be able to look out the window. Without popping the head out the window, they can safely sit in the booster seat. So for smaller dogs, being in the comfort of a little booster seat, watching where they're going, feeling king of the castle, it just makes them feel so more comfortable. It's a great way to travel for a little dog.
Yes, especially pre-COVID, we had quite a lot of clients that were going abroad and stuff, so their pets could be in the car for hours. Like Laura said, not letting them have their head out the window, but having an open window can sort of help circulate the fresh air, make them feel better. There's a lot of sort of herbal things available, like calms and stuff you can use safely on dogs. We have an over-the-counter one called Anxitane. You give them about an hour before you're travelling, and they can really help with the sort of travel sickness. There is a drug called Serenia, which we do recommend a lot to fully eliminate travel sickness. In the past, people used to ask about sedation and stuff like that. We think that's actually not great for the dog, so we try and go more to actually eliminate the feeling of car sickness rather than sedating them so that they don't know what's going on. But that there are lots of things available that, once a dog learns, actually this isn't a bad thing, it breaks a cycle in their mind. If they start salivating, they feel sick, they associate it with the car, and then it just becomes like a vicious cycle. And using things an hour, 2 hours before you travel to stop that happening is enough in a lot of cases to eliminate the car sickness.
Yeah. And also, obviously, lots of water, dog bowls, stopping regularly, allowing the dog to, have a little bit of me time out of the car.
Yep, stretch their legs and, do their business and, realise that there is sort of, a point to the journey and stuff. And a lot of dogs eventually learn that when they go in the car, they go somewhere exciting, whereas cats tend to always be a bit nervous because they're usually going to the cattery or the vet, and they probably don't think it's that much fun. But again, there's sprays and things that can make them feel better. There's tablets available. If you have them somewhere quiet and dark, it can help them when travelling. So there's no pet really that can't travel. Again, it's just being prepared and doing things to make it more of a pleasurable event for your pet.
And I think as well, it's about planning, isn't it? If you're going out for the day and if you've rented a beautiful cottage or you're staying in a hotel that's dog friendly and you're thinking, well, we want to go out and explore, and it's about planning. It's about planning ahead and thinking about the healthcare, the welfare of your dog and how long you're going to be out for, the places you go, and be mindful of all those considerations. Yeah.
Absolutely. And also, when you do get to the accommodation, you can be guaranteed, especially if they're pet friendly, that they will have lots of information about their locality and where you can and what you can do. So that's extremely helpful also.
And Laura, what is your top tip for taking your dog, getting the most out of North Wales and getting about and, planning ahead? What would you say is your top tip?
Take note of what the weather's going to be like before you go out. If you're expecting a warm day, try and schedule your walking time. So I wouldn't go midday where it's going to be really hot for your dog. If you find that it's going to be quite warm that day, make sure you're taking water bottle or a portable folding bowl with you, a first aid kit if you're going somewhere quite rural. So many people forget the basics. And I think even now you're still seeing so irresponsible dog owners just because they've forgotten to take one of the most basic things with them, really. So just poo bags in every pocket of the car. That way there's no reason or any excuse for forgetting them, really.
So, people always say how vets are really expensive and all that. My big tip is if you are a responsible dog owner, you go everywhere with poo bags and bottles of water, and in themselves, that's your own first aid kit. So if you get a cut pad, you fill your poo bag with water, you can rinse it, you can use your poo bag as a mini bandage and stuff. So actually, if you're a good dog owner and you're prepared, you could save yourself lots of money on vet trips, so poo bags and bottles of water.
And also, I think that North Wales has got so many plentiful dog bins, which I know it's a bit of a weird thing to talk about, but they are important because you see people, they will poop a scoop and then they'll tie the poo bag to a tree.
They will, yeah. It's so, yeah.
Take it, if there's no dog bin, take it home and put it in the bin there. But there should be a dog bin nearby.
Most definitely. Take it home. I mean, so many people use the excuse, oh, it smells, or I don't want to take it with me. But there's going to be so many bins on the route back to the car. I mean, if you really don't want to take your poo bag home and there is no bins, Petplace actually sell little tailgate bins, magnetic ones that stick to the back of your car. No. So you can stick your poo bags in there, honestly.
Genius.
So there's no reason why you could... Yeah, so no smell in the car and there's no reason why you need to leave your poo bag behind.
That is a genius product right there.
I think as a dog owner, even going out for dinner, you find dog poo bags in every single pocket you have.
Yes. Every coat, every handbag, every coat, they're there.
But that's a sign of a good dog owner, though.
Yes, absolutely agree. Now, for some of us, taking our dogs may not be an option, and we may be looking for the first time about accommodation for the dog at home in a kennel. In a boarding facility. So, Sarah, what would you recommend that we look for?
Do your research. You know what your dog likes, you know your dog's routine, and if you're entrusting someone to care for them, they should want to be asking you the questions, and it should be what they can provide. It's not a case of finding the nearest one and your pet goes there. Ask your friends, ask family, get recommendations. What do they like about where their dog's been? Are they encouraging you to bring your own bedding? Just do your research. We have a first impression for a reason, and if you go somewhere and it doesn't tick all the boxes and you're not 100%, just don't put your pet there. You want to go there thinking that your pet's on holiday as well, so just do your research.
Because it can be quite stressful, can't it? It can be stressful for, obviously, the dog being away from you, but also stressful for the owner because it's their anxiety of leaving the dog and coming away and then thinking, I'm going on holiday, and you have pet guilt terrible guilt.
But there's home boarding where people come in to you, or your pet can go to like a pet hotel rather than boarding kennel. So there are lots of options, and a lot of places now that are, sort of trying to promote themselves as a, dog holiday as well, will send videos, will send photos, make you sort of part of, being away from them, but not necessarily missing out. So again, there are these places, and it's a case of, if that's what you want, to give yourself, peace of mind that your pet is, somewhere and not fretting, then, do your research and find it, because, there are places that will, send you a little video or a little photo and just reassure you, actually.
Yes, and cameras as well, cameras that you can log on to and see if your dog or your cat is okay.
Yeah.
So precautions before you put them into a kennel. Obviously, we're talking vaccinations and kennel cough.
So Kennel Cough as a vaccine is a good vaccine. It's not 100% effective, but it will limit the signs. So similar to us with the COVID vaccines, if you do come into contact, you are less likely to have complications. In most animals, kennel cough is more of a nuisance disease than a fatal disease, but it can make animals really poorly. And as a virus, we can carry it on our clothes and stuff, so it is quite contagious. Where dogs go, if they cough and leave stuff on the grass, the next dog coming into contact could get it. And obviously, if you are in a boarding kennels or somewhere, you've got a smaller population of more dogs mixing in certain areas. So as many precautions you can take, the better.
And obviously a lot of these places require the paperwork anyway, so it is something that you need to look at and plan ahead for.
Yeah, and that varies. I mean, some places ask that you have the kennel cough vaccine up to 2 weeks before you go. Some just say a couple of days. The vaccine actually lasts for a year, but we recommend doing it the nearer you're going away. So although there is protection for a year, the best protection is within the first couple of weeks of giving it. We usually give the kennel cough vaccine up the nose, but it is becoming that there will be one available to be injected for anybody that thinks their dog is phobic of that.
Oh, right, okay. Brilliant. Right, so I have a final question, but I'd like to know where you've all enjoyed a good pet staycation or a day trip in beautiful North Wales. So you need to pick your favourite.
I think mine has to be my favourite staycation. As a family, we go to Shell Island every single year. It's amazing. It's a bit back to the wild camping route, so there's no electricity. It's sit up, what under the stars, dog sat next to the campfire with you, enjoyed a hot dog. She can come crabbing with us. We can enjoy the beach, just the island itself. It's amazing.
Do you know what? That just sounds so idyllic, just perfect.
Yeah. It's beautiful. So, I mean, the dog can just free run. They have a field there just for the dogs to run. So they've also got dog free field. So for anyone that isn't very keen on dogs, they've got that option available as well. But they cater for, like Petplace, they have ice creams for people and for the dogs as well, just like what we sell there.
And just finally, again, North Wales has got lots of beaches, Barmouth, Harlech, Beaumaris and Anglesey, Rhyl and Cowan Bay. Just a word of caution, though, is there are, especially through the summer months from May onwards, there are some restrictions on, whereabout you can go onto those beaches to exercise your dogs. So just be mindful of that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we are really trying to drive the message forward that North Wales is a really pet-friendly location for you to come on holiday.
We've talked a lot about beaches, and no one's actually mentioned Talacre Beach. And I think it's an amazing place because even if the car park's full, there's so many places you can go through the dunes, you can go on the beach, and you can escape from everywhere. As Jim was saying, there are certain restrictions on beaches, but there are none throughout the year at Talacre, and it is beautiful. And you can just wander off, blow away the cobwebs. You can do an easy walk, you can do a long walk. Yeah, something for everyone.
It sounds amazing. Well, I'm looking forward to sampling all of those. I've booked a 2 centre this year, Borthegest and Anglesey. So I'm looking forward to both of those. And I just want to thank you all for your advice today. Jim Jones, Sarah Holmes and Laura Jones. It's been great having you join me.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
And as always, you can get more information and advice from farmandpetplace.co.uk. That's it for now, but see you next time in the Pet Place podcast, when we'll be looking at how to prepare your dog for socialising with other people and animals.